Morning, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Anasa. So I want to start today by saying that I'm going through some kind of transformation. And one of the messages that I received is that it's really important for me to change a little bit of the flavor of our conversations. And that is it's not that we've been doing anything wrong. It's just the whole thing has been pulled up to a different layer, different level of requirement of me and you to relate everything we say to each other in the context of the highest best for the whole. And we all need to take in what that means. It doesn't mean that we don't relate to the personal because the impersonal can only be accessed by releasing the personal. But it's important that we relate to the personal from the perspective of the highest. And so it's a little bit of a shift for us all to make. And everyone here is in tune with what that means. So there's nothing more that needs to be said. Second thing is that we have been informed that there is in human beings a womb chakra, an energy center that focuses on the womb. And it doesn't matter if you have a womb or not, you still have the womb chakra. But it's important for us to begin to explore that, so we'll be including it in our meditation. So these are two refinements that have come through. Having said that, let's take our attention inside and start to meditate. So in the beginning, we take our attention down to the tip of the tailbone. And imagine that there is a funnel at the base of the skull, allowing all your attention that's usually banging around back and forth between our ears to come all the way down to the tip of our tailbone. Allow your attention to sink into your body very, very deeply. And from the tip of the tailbone, allow yourself to feel into the core of the center of the earth, which is the source of everything physical in our lives. So meditation is very much not leaving the body, not leaving the earth, but being completely in body in expanded awareness. So the first expansion we make is to the center of the earth. So we embrace our physical source. And breathing down into that source. Feel for the space between the breaths. As we feel into the space between the breaths, allow yourself to expand. But not letting go of the body, just being bigger. And when you're ready, gently allow yourself to be informed about the location of the womb center. WOMB. Again, feeling into the space between the breaths. And this center exists in the masculine as well as the feminine. Gently allow your attention to come to the solar plexus. Breathe into that space just below the rib cage in the front and feel it extend all the way to the back. Feel for the space between the breaths in this energy center. When you're ready, allow your attention to rise up to your heart center. When you're ready, allow your attention to move up to the throat center. When you're ready, take your attention to the third eye, behind and between the eyebrows, above the junction of the hard palate and the soft palate in the mouth. You can feel for that place with your tongue where the hard and the soft meet, and then directly above is the third eye. Hold your attention there in the space between the breaths. As you are guided open, allow and experience your own full energy field. when you're ready, allowing yourself to stay in this field of awareness, just gently open your eyes. We welcome your questions. How may we serve today? So we will say to you that this is a very important time of transformation on your planet, as many new energies are coming in. It's important to be vigilant in your practice and tending to your evolutionary expansion in the awareness of your own energetic field. The energies coming in are meant to be used for spiritual awakening. We have a choice between riding the wave of transformation or something else. Hold to the wave of transformation. So Anasa is a source field in resonance with humanity, available to guide through this transformation and transcendence. It is important to cultivate this energetic awareness within ourselves and prioritize it. And it's important that we align ourselves with the highest best for the whole in our perception and to keep referencing the field of love. The field of love is holding within ourselves the wish for ourselves to be in alignment with the highest best for the whole. And trusting that wherever and whatever that commitment brings into our lives, that everything happens for our growth. What we attract has everything to do with what we are broadcasting. If we want love, we must broadcast love. If we want peace, we must broadcast peace. If we want joy, we must broadcast joy. Anything we broadcast is what we will receive. That's how we know what we're broadcasting. The world gives us instant feedback. As we as we release our resistance higher and higher frequencies, more expansive, become available. Each human being is thoroughly responsible for her evolution. We are switching our language because the denial of the feminine principle is invisible. The denial of the feminine has made the feminine principle invisible. Has made us feel like strangers in our own being. Constantly seeking our understanding from a patriarchal perspective. How may we serve? So saying it another way. Oh, sorry. Please
Oh,
speak.
you go ahead. I'll wait.
We lost the train. Please speak.
Okay. What you began the session with the transition from the personal to the higher levels. I have a question about that. In that, I find that most of my, or a lot of my um, lessons, teachings, messages from the higher power come through the personal, the interactions that I have with the people and situations in my immediate life. And that I realized that in many ways I couldn't get that without the interactions with the people and situations around me, especially if they're challenging. The challenging ones are the ones that encourage me to go deeper and find the meaning and the work that needs to be done.
So, are you finished?
I can be finished for now.
Are you ready to receive?
Allow me to plug you back in.
So, in every human problem, or we won't use the word problem, in every human growth interaction, the solution is always to rise above it to seek the answer. So and this is an example of you doing that and asking this question and the way we are wanting to work in this. So this is a extremely good question, going right to the heart of what we are trying to communicate, which is that in the pursuit of transcendence, we are recognizing the level of the mundane and that the solution to any mundane is always in a dimension higher than the situation. And so this going to the Inasa temple and rising above and speaking to the highest brings us into a higher place in ourselves. As we resolve more and more of the or step out of the need to be involved in more and more is what happens in more and more of the daily kerfuffle. We broaden into a field of awareness that um, is not subject to three-dimensional law. And in that space is where we want to begin to live, from that space, so that the Inasa temple becomes our life blood rather than the place we go to seek the answer. It requires that we begin to expect of ourselves a relocation internally in our inner experience and dimensional awareness. Does this make sense?
Can you hear me yet?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I've been experiencing the Anasa Temple as home base, safe place, actually. Um, it is where I rest and also where I open up to insight and guidance um, throughout the day, actually, and especially when the situations are challenging. And I won't say problematic because I can see that there doesn't have to be a problem. I need to rise to a higher level in myself. And this latest one has been about compassion, about deepening compassion. I understood the word and I understood a bit about what it could mean. And obviously, I needed to deepen that so that mm, it feels like coming from my solar plexus. But I don't know whether that's the only thing. Anyway,
Is there a question in there?
the question was, is that is that the way to see the situations that we face in the day as the way to learn? I I can't see transformation in my life as not having to do with my life. I don't, it feels sometimes that you you can separate the higher levels from the mundane, but I'm wondering if you can actually do that.
Are,
If
are you ready to receive?
okay, hang on. I have to plug you in order to receive you.
This, are you ready? Can you hear? Okay, this is a very apt metaphor for the point we are trying to make. The mundane is of the third dimensional of the mind, and in order to really understand, that must be transcended. That is three-dimensional awareness. Fifth dimensional awareness is actually allowing yourself to expand into a different awareness, which is not of the mind, it is of the spirit. And we are, this is not about being wrong. This is part of the expansion itself, is understanding that this, as long as it is in the realm of three-dimensional language, is in three dimensions. When it is in the realm of love, it becomes time and space disappear. This is this is the essence of the Anasa temple, allowing ourselves to transform because the only way fifth dimensional awareness becomes our experience is to have it become our experience. And it's not that we graduate from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, it's always available. It's that we allow ourselves to open to that space within us. And does that make any sense? What you're speaking of is a kind of psychological growth, which clears the field of our, uh, it makes us more comfortable in ourselves. And this is a wonderful thing. And we have spent decades doing this ourselves. Transcendent awareness is actually the experience of the English language short circuits because it's three-dimensional. So what we're trying to do is transmit the experience so that it's available because there is no language that can describe this experience. And going to the Anasa temple is a training of running in and out of the experience of the availability of this field. In taking our meditation into becoming the Anasa temple, then we are the field. And the information is available, but it's no longer about being successful in the third dimension. It's about truly transcending. Does that make any sense at all?
Can you hear me yet?
Yes.
Okay. So, yes, it makes a whole lot of sense. And I, the two of us spent time at the beginning of our relationship taking psychedelics. So I know, hmm, anyway, like you say, ineffable. And there was a desire, if you want to call it that, to remain there and sort of let go of the third dimension. And I had children. So I've lived my life with one foot in the third dimension and open to the higher dimensions, which is not a permanent state. And what I might be misunderstanding you, but I'm thinking that you're inviting us to the higher state as a permanent, I hesitate to say residence, but I think you know what I mean. And I, I don't, I- it, well, it sounds wonderful. And I feel as though I'm still taking baby steps and clearing up on the third dimension. And um, hopefully, when the time is right, time is an interesting word there, but when the time arises, that I will be able to possibly let go of the personal ego third dimension thing. But anyway, I feel as though I'm taking baby steps, and that's okay with me. I'm plugging you back in.
Are are you ready to receive? So it's a truism that all states are impermanent. It's also true that in higher dimensional awareness, language, there is a difference between moving freely between the dimensions, and it's as though one could have the choice of not ever living in third dimensional experience while living in third dimensional experience. What we are encouraging you to cultivate is a more expansive, awareness. The the third dimension creates a limitation for us naturally, but we can choose to especially as we age and get closer to our death, which will be dissolution into the all of the all that is, that we can train ourselves to be more uh, comfortable is not a word that exactly applies. We're going to take you into a world where you're more familiar, which is communicating with your plants. And encourage you to feel into those lines of communication and ask them to flow both ways so that you allow in perception that is new to your field.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So decades ago, Eckhart Tolle introduced the concept of the relationship between nature and humans as a reciprocal flow. And I find that to be totally true all the time. And I mean, every day I am nourished by and hopefully nourishing to the natural world.
So what we are encouraging here is just an expansion of that.
Well, I'm always open to expansion, let me tell you. But I also know I can't push the river. It will come. I have trust that it will come to me at the appropriate time when I am actually able to understand and able to integrate the information.
We are bringing up the plant realm as a place where you feel comfortable to expand the mutual communication. You are ready for the expanded awareness. The mind wants to limit that perception.
I think I understand what you're saying because even when we were taking a substance to expand, I got a sense that that isn't necessary. That's more like giving yourself permission to expand, an act that says, I'm open, you know, for business. But how could I say this? That I have trust that when I have cleared up enough of the channels, which time and space in the third dimension is giving me plenty of opportunity to do so, that it the upleveling will happen naturally or without my effort. My daily practice is my effort. I mean, I get that it's important that I am very steadfast in that. And it is incredibly helpful in doing the work in the third dimension. And I'm just wondering if you're saying it's time now for us, me, to up level on purpose, um, or intentionally, or something. Um, I'm not sure what it is that you're saying. And I'm going to be quiet now and plug you back in so that I can hear you better.
So the first thing we're going to say is to agree with you that in your psychedelic experience, that psychedelics show us what's possible, what's available. And so then we have to go do the work. to be, to allow that experience to become our reality. We are not negating anything that you're saying. Everything that you're saying is true. We're saying time and space don't really exist, and that allowing that field of awareness to permeate your being is a choice when you're with us. It's always a choice. Expanded awareness does not come without our voluntary participation. And we're saying that it's available. It's available. We are encouraging the allowing of that experience as a choice, an option that that is coming through more and more strongly into our bigger environment for human beings to connect into. This is what we're saying, and it is a transcendent experience. It can never take away the mundane. We live in the third dimension. We are trapped in the rules and laws of the third dimension because it's where our physical body is. However, our beingness need not be limited to. And as we said at the beginning of our meditation, we are not leaving anywhere. This is called expanded awareness for a reason. We are allowing ourselves to be in both the third dimension and the fifth dimension. And the understanding is that humanity must embrace the fifth dimension to move to a field of higher awareness. This is our point. And that we internally have a choice to cultivate that. And that's what our practice is. And we hope that makes sense. We're not hearing you.
Okay.
There you are.
All right. You didn't hear anything I said?
No.
Oh, okay. I just said, I hear you and I'm open for that. And what it sounds like is tripping without acid. And that would be fine with me because I always knew that was possible. And and we'll see. I'm here and I'm open. So thank you very much. for everything that you say and your encouragement.
You've got it. How may we serve? We still have a few minutes.
Hi.
Hi. Talk.
I'm walking, otherwise I put my camera on. I am so grateful. Thank you for everything, and especially this womb chakra that you were talking about. And I almost asked you last week um, about the lower centers and kind of wrapping my head around it because I was talking to someone about it, and I feel like people have different ideas of the sacral chakra and the muladhara or the root chakra. And then to add more complexity into it, we have the womb chakra. So I was hoping that you could possibly guide me through anatomically where these centers lie.
So, uh, since I've only been experimenting for 48 hours since that awareness was given to me, I'm not going to say definitively because it's not clear to me. And I invite everybody on this call to experiment with where the womb center actually is. And it may de depend on the physical location of our womb, but I don't think so. None of the other energy centers depend on physical locations. But I keep getting confused in myself between the energy center below the belly button and what I have always called the sex chakra, which has been very hazy in its location for me. So let's give it some time and actually focus our attention on the womb center and begin to describe it to each other, because this is very important in the denial of our feminine identity as having value. We have not been encouraged to cultivate this center within ourselves, within our culture. And so we have denial blindness, I would call it, and say, let's experiment together and describe this to each other as we take in the activation of this center, which is available not just, it's available in our, um, the awareness of it is coming into our environment in a very strong way in this period. We'll say it like that. Does that make sense to you?
Completely, because it is. It is it is it will take a lot of focus to suss out further, because I have, and I'm like, ooh, well, what is this? Anyways, I'm happy to explore this with all of you.
Yes, this is really, really important. And it's important that we explore it as a genuine uh, uh, self-acceptance practice, validation that we do exist, we are not invisible, and we have value.
That's so beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, it, it's the opposite of what all the subtle messages of our culture are constantly telling us. especially as we age. After 50, women become invisible. I'm not telling anybody anything they haven't experienced. So I'm becoming a true crone. And I'm delighted to share with you everything that's coming in at this time. It's a very powerful time of transformation.
I'm honored to receive it.
So delighted to be here with you. Thank you so much for coming today. We look forward to seeing anybody who comes on Wednesday and next Sunday. So much love to you all.
Thank you.
Bye for now.